First of all, do not tell your spouse to calm down. If they were in the headspace to be able to hear that, you wouldn't need to tell them.
Well, sure. But it's like, how do we get them there?
Right, yeah. And the other thing that's important is to remember, you are 100% responsible for your emotions.
And this is where our daughter would start snapping, as in clapping for us, for saying that, because that's true. You are 100% responsible for your emotions, and you need to be in control of them and not have those emotions control you. You may be one choice away from a thriving marriage. Welcome to the Operation Thriving Marriage podcast with Bryon and Jennifer Harvey. Welcome to the Operation Thriving Marriage podcast. Here, I'm Jennifer Harvey. I'm here with Bryon Harvey and our producer, Todd.
Hey, guys. Happy to have you back.
And we are presently on episode 2 of a 3-part series here about talking about healthy communication and having good communication even through a conflict.
Absolutely. Last week, we talked about how couples often know that they need to do better and they know what tools to use in healthy conflict, but they find it hard to actually use those tools when the conflicts arise.
Because they know the what, and the what to do, what to use, but not how to use it. They don't know how to get in there and appropriately, implement it. And just some examples is, we've had some couples where, they feel like they can see what the other spouse is doing wrong by not implementing things well.
Yes.
But they also know that they're not implementing things well, and they're frustrated and red-faced and practically crying over it, and sometimes actually crying over it, because it can get that frustrating that it's driving adults to tears because they want to be better communicators. They know what the tools are. They just need to know how to implement those. And unfortunately, a lot of the communication advice that we have and are given just ubiquitously through different authors and mental health experts, it seems to presuppose calm interactions, but rarely are conflicts that you have, conflicts in marriage, calm conversations, or do they start off that way?
Right, exactly. And so let me ask you this. What is your reaction? What do you think when someone tells you, Jen, calm down?
Makes me want to leave the room and come back with some weapon to beat them up. So you heard it here first.
Yeah, it's calm down.
You don't say that to adults.
No, you don't, because it feels dismissive or invalidating. It's like, you just need to calm down. You're dismissing or you're invalidating the legitimate experience of the person. But the other aspect of it, let's just be honest, when you're really, really upset, it also just kind of feels impossible in that moment to calm down.
Right. And if you're being told to calm down, just with all of these factors into play, it to me, that person is not going to calm down if you're telling them to.
Yeah, it's like, I am calm. It's like,
right. Yes.
And it's so common in movies and sitcoms and stuff about, okay, don't tell a woman to calm down, right?
Words to live by.
You see that so many times. It's one of those, if you're sitting in the movie theater, right, and there's this interaction between a man and a woman, and the man will say, calm down. Everyone in the theater is like, ooh. I mean, he's going to get it. But men don't exactly like being told to calm down either.
No, I don't think anybody does. And again, my opinion is you don't tell adults to calm down.
But the reality is, to have healthy conflict, you know what you need to do? Calm down.
Well, that's true. That's true. And we're going to tell you how to get there. So don't worry about that.
That's the reality. No, don't say that to your spouse. And no one wants to hear it. But if you want to have healthy conflict, we talked about last episode noticing if you were physically ready to have healthy conflict, are you physically ready to fight? If you're physically ready to fight, what you need to do is calm down so you can be physically ready to have a healthy conflict.
And I think a lot of it is focusing again. How do you get to that calm down and help your spouse, get to that calm down as well? Because I remember we were in a small group for a time with an EMT tech, and sometimes if they're dealing with someone in a very stressful, horrible situation, maybe that person's actually having a panic attack. How do they get that person to help calm down? And obviously they have some different, medical, tools and resources in their ambulance and in their bag.
And in the movies, they
just
just slap them and it works.
Well, and we're not doing that. Do not do that. That's not a good choice there.
Todd may need to edit that out. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
But in any event, just with that EMT tech, just knows you've got to get that person to start to calm down. But generally that EMT tech is going to be coming in with these other kinds of tools. And sometimes it's like we need to focus on your breathing, specifically your exhaling, to help kind of get that out of you.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. I think the key thing here is to point out, first of all, do not tell your spouse to calm down. If they were in the headspace to be able to hear that, you wouldn't need to tell them.
Well, sure, but it's like, how do we get them there?
Right, yeah. And the other thing that's important is to remember, you are 100% responsible for your emotions.
And this is where our daughter would start snapping, as in clapping for us, for saying that, because that's true. You are 100% responsible for your emotions, and you need to be in control of them and not have those emotions control you.
We talked about last episode that you need to catch yourself getting angry before you lose control. Then you need to take action to calm yourself down. And so you realize you're going to need to calm down before things get worse. You notice that in yourself. You notice all those symptoms we talked about in the last episode. What do you do?
Yes, and we had talked about this, credit where credit's due, for Exo Marriage. We're part of their mediators, their marriage mediators, to help couples resolve conflicts. And we were told that the big recommendation is to unplug.
And I like to think of this as like a tactical pause.
Can you talk more about that?
In the Air Force, when things are going bad, particularly when there's like safety issues, there's been a problem, planes are crashing, there's been more crashes or someone's gotten hurt, we will do a tactical pause. We'll do these safety down days. Mm-hmm. And what that means is in the Air Force, during peacetime, when we're getting ready, when we're training exercise, there's this push to get planes in the air, to keep them flying, because we need our pilots to get the experience, to know what they need to do. So God forbid war happens, our pilots are ready to go to war and able to do their job. And so there's this push to get planes in the air. A safety down day means no planes are flying. We take a break. We take time to pull back, look at everything, what could be causing these safety issues, these safety violations. We sit down as a team and talk about these things. We may take times like, okay, we don't have the pressure to get these planes in the air. This will give us more time for our maintenance guys to look at the planes more carefully, more closely. What are the issues going on? But you pause, you take a step back from all of the training and exercise to take a break so you can be prepared to go back and do full speed operations, to be able to go prepare for the mission that's ahead.
And the idea is you're walking away from the argument. You are not walking away from the marriage. You're just saying, I need time to just help myself, to regulate here so that I can maintain a healthy marriage with my spouse.
Before conflict ever happens, being okay in your relationship, saying, hey, we need to unplug. Mm-hmm. And realizing as the spouse, when your spouse says, I need to unplug, and is walking away from the argument, you need to be okay with that.
Right. And I like the idea of, we need to unplug, or I need to unplug, not you need to unplug.
100%. You're responsible for your own emotions. And when your spouse needs to unplug, it's okay. Don't feel like there's immaturity, unhealth, there's a problem with the marriage because you can't figure this out in the next 30 seconds.
And just kind of my admission here, I remember at one time within the last couple of years, I was pretty irritated with you, Bryon.
No, not with me.
Not ever. But I was pretty irritated. And I think I said something to the extent of, well, neither of us are at our best. When all I'm thinking to myself is, Bryon is definitely not at his best right now. But I think making it a we thing, I think it was probably more honest and it was easier for you to hear and receive.
That's true. That's true. I think that's very true. It's like, okay, it's never okay to point out flaws when you're
super amped up.
Absolutely.
And upset.
Yeah. You gotta get to a place because you can't hear them. So what is unplugging?
Yeah. I think it's some purposeful, just kind of time for you to be able to physically, mentally, and emotionally have a healthy conflict. And you're kind of preparing yourself within yourself that you're taking a beat, you're taking some time to be able to be ready to have a conversation where the emotions aren't running so high. What I had liked being told about this kind of tactic is the lady who founded this and was really teaching this had just said, my husband's got no problem when I unplug because I'm just talking to Jesus about the whole thing. I'm not talking to anybody else, but I'm doing some other things to get myself in a headspace, and we're going to talk through that a little bit.
So definitely a thing not to do when you're unplugging is to go gossip or complain to someone about your spouse. Don't pick up the phone and call mom or your best buddy at the bar or anyone like that. You don't call someone and complain about this conflict you're having, because that's not unplugging. That's rehashing and making the conflict worse. But some things you can do when you unplug. First of all, move. Just physically move your body.
Oh, absolutely. Going on a walk, going on a bicycle ride, going to the gym. There's a lot of things that you can do to just kind of physically start moving yourself and kind of getting out of that digging in your heels for an argument. We have some past podcasts where we talked about you moving your body stops you from being so entrenched in your position for the argument. It gets you into a bit of a different headspace there.
It also works out the cortisol that is causing the chemical causing you to experience the stress. It helps work those hormones out so that you can clear those out and have clearer thoughts.
Right. And you can engage in some different other calming activities. I know for Bryon, if we've got the weather for it, motorcycle ride is always a good thing for you. Thank you very much. He doesn't pick a fight so that he can go on a motorcycle ride. So that's a good thing. I'm giving my husband ideas. We don't want to do that. And again, just being silly about it. But there might be some other calming activities for you. Some people like to paint. Just what kind of helps to kind of calm you down just as far as these activities are concerned. And other things too are prayer, scripture meditation, scripture reading, using your body to calm the mind down.
Yeah, I think that's a big one is you can, just like your brain can affect your body in causing, again, the sweaty palms, the muscle tensing, all those things, you can use your body to help calm your brain down. Some of that is just deep breathing. Many of you may have heard of the idea of square breathing. And what that means is inhale for a 4 count, hold it for a 4 count, exhale for a 4 count, hold it for a 4 count. And just doing that rhythm will help your body. It'll slow your heart rate down. It'll calm your mind. It'll help you work through those things. Muscle relaxation, and this was something that I learned from a psychologist, is just sitting in a chair, having your both feet planted, and then hold your hands out in front of you and just tighten all the muscles. Kind of like if you're Gen X and you remember Return of the Jedi, you want your hands to look like the Emperor when he's shooting lightning out at Luke. You just tighten all those muscles and then relax them. And just tighten them and relax them. And that's going to help relax your body. Or practice mindfulness. And I know some people in the church get a little weird about it because they think this is some sort of Eastern philosophy, meditation stuff. I'm not talking about chakras and mantras. I'm just talking about experiences, and there's a lot of good things on YouTube. They've got like 5-minute, 30-minute mindfulness exercises. And what it's doing is causing your mind to be in the moment, aware of what's going on right now. This prevents your mind from rehashing your argument, rehashing the past, looking to how you're going to solve this fight in the future, and just being present. And doing so will bring your emotional level down to a place where you then can be physically ready for healthy confrontation.
Yeah, and there are some things that I know that you and I have noticed and observed over the years about, I guess we call them common failures or kind of enemies to the unplugging process.
Yeah.
And some of that is if you've got one spouse that it wants to talk now and is just demanding that to talk now.
So let's touch this real quick. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Paul in Ephesians. That is not intended to be a strict rule. That's not, hey, if you're mad, then you better solve it before the last ray of sun is below the horizon, or you've sinned. That's not what Paul meant. And it's not, because then what happens if you get into a fight after the sun goes? Do you get an extra 12 hours if you start fighting before the sun comes up?
Or if you get into an argument at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's like, I got all day.
I got all day for this. That it meant resolve conflicts quickly. It was just an idiom of the time. So if sometimes you have to go to bed angry, and that's another thing, never go to bed angry. If you got into a conflict at 10:30, 11 o'clock, or just before bed, you're not in the best position. You're tired and cranky. That's the worst time to have healthy conflict. Sometimes you need to sleep on it, and that's okay. Let yourself have the time for your body to be ready for healthy conflict.
And I think sometimes with that too, it's like you can be affirming that the marriage is okay, but we've got to resolve this disagreement that we're having, and we're going to get to that the next day.
Well, and I'm thinking even there's been instances where we've been upset and gone to bed, and we've still kissed each other goodnight, still said I love you. We were still angry, but we went to sleep, and then the next day we were able to work things out, and maybe even better because we had rested and our bodies were in a better position. But it wasn't,
sure.
I'm going to go take my blanket and go sleep on the couch, or I'm going to go stay at someone else's house. No, we were in the same bed. We kissed each other goodnight. We said, I love you, still angry. And then we're able to resolve the conflict later.
But again, some of these enemies to unplugging, if the idea is, we need to unplug, that means that you need to have some of that space and time away from each other. And again, as you mentioned, it doesn't mean you're sleeping outside of your common home together, but it just means I'm just going to take some time to kind of process this. So, one spouse or the other spouse can't just say, I'm demanding to talk now. The idea is to be healthy. You need to take some of that time away. And the other one would need space and would want to, take some of that.
Yeah, and so that's one of the common failures is one spouse needs space, but the other won't let them have it.
Right.
And then also feeling like or thinking through that the timeout feels like abandonment or avoidance. Know that we're unplugging. We're not abandoning. You're not being abandoned, and this argument's not being avoided. We're preparing ourselves to have healthy conflicts. And the fear underneath all of that is if we stop talking, this won't get resolved. And you're not stopping talking. You're taking a tactical pause so that you can talk in a way that is productive, not destructive.
Because you're getting ready to have the appropriate conversation.
Exactly.
Conversations happen when one or both of you are not able to manage the conflict in a healthy way, and then you would just have all kinds of damage to the relationship that would follow, and you don't want that.
Couples often find they know what they need to do to have healthy conflict, but they don't know how to do it. And the reason usually is that their emotions have taken control. And so in the first episode, we talked about catch yourself responding emotionally. The next step is calm down. No one wants to hear that, but that's what you need to do. Prepare yourself physically to have a healthy conversation. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about the other thing that couples often don't know how to do is to healthily end the conflict and the conversation. Thank you so much for listening to the Operation Thriving Marriage podcast. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend and don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Jen and I started Operation Thriving Marriage to help couples and churches take marriages from merely surviving to thriving. We've got our book, we've got a blog and resources for our coaching ministry, and you can bring us out for an Operation Thriving Marriage experience. For more information, go to operationthrivingmarriage.com. That's operationthrivingmarriage.com.